Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Caroline Lachowski. I'm a science journalist at RFI, Radio France Internationale, deputy editor-in-chief and producer of the program Autour de la Question. It is both an honor and a deeply emotional moment for me to welcome you to this very, very special evening, marking the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. This evening, we honor the memory of those we lost, celebrate the resilience of survivors and communities, and reflect together on the progress made over the past 2 decades in disaster preparedness and risk reduction. Before we begin, let me share just a few practical details. This event will take place in both French and English, with simultaneous interpretation available in both languages. Please use the provided headphones and select your preferred language. And to start tonight's opening segment, I would like to invite to sit on stage, the Deputy Director General of UNESCO. Please come on stage, and the ambassadors and member states representatives from India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Japan. Thank you, Excellencies, to come on stage with me. Thank you very much. We now hear Mr. Deputy Director General, Mr. Chu Singh, who will kindly share the organization's, thank you very much. You will kindly share the organization's reflection on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami. His words, your word, Deputy Director General, will remind us of the global collective commitment needed to protect lives and strengthen disaster preparedness.
Thank you. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, il y a 20 ans, le 26 décembre 2004, les côtes de l'océan Indien étaient frappées par une terrible tragédie. Déclenché par un séisme de magnitude 9, un tsunami fauchait en quelques heures plus de 225 000 vies et créé 1,7 million de déplacés. Un raz-de-marée qui a laissé tant de familles et de communautés endeuillées, de Banda Aceh en Indonésie, à Galle au Sri Lanka, de Phuket en Thaïlande, à Xaphoun en Somalie. Installée sur nos grilles, l'exposition Tsunami, un changement de cap pour la résilience, veut rendre hommage aux disparus ainsi qu'à la résilience des survivants. Parmi eux, un Pradeep Kodipili du Sri Lanka. Il se souvient, les vagues ont balayé tout ce que nous avions, mais ma volonté de vivre est restée intacte. Il y a aussi Milanda Adou qui a survécu au tsunami de Palu en Indonésie en 2018. Elle confie « Aider un enfant à flotter près de moi m'a donné la force de survivre. » Mesdames et messieurs, Pradeep et Milanda sont aujourd'hui parmi nous. Nous pouvons applaudir leur courage. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2004, it took 2 hours from the time the earthquake struck to when the alert went out. This delayed response had a profound impact on the countries of the region, but also on UNESCO. Since then, we have been coordinating the creation of tsunami early warning systems in the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Caribbean and Mediterranean seas. And today, it took only 3 to 5 minutes to alert populations. This global network relies on the cutting-edge detection technology, preparedness drills, and close collaboration between the 150 member states of our Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission. And these early warning systems are complemented by our work to train communities. Such is the aim of the Tsunami Ready Recognition Program, which has been helping coastal towns and regions to strengthen their preparedness since 2015. This has been done, for example, through large-scale exercises with hundreds of thousands of people in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and the Pacific, but also through more targeted exercises such as teacher training in Bali, Indonesia. We must act to ensure that the coastal communities at risk, some 700 million people, are prepared by 2030 to face ocean-related hazards. And our action thus far is paying off. 100 communities in more than 30 countries have already been recognized as tsunami ready. Thanks to our training efforts, the people of Tonga were able to recognize the warning signs of a tsunami in 2022, including a sudden drop in sea level, and were able to evacuate before the waves hit. Small island developing states are the most exposed to tsunami and weather extremes. And UNESCO will continue to take action alongside them, as we stated at the International Conference on Seas in Antigua and Barbuda in May this year. But as these extreme geophysical and weather events occur worldwide at an increasingly alarming rate, owing to climate disruption and the loss of biodiversity, no region is spared. On the 28th of November, in 2 days, 2 documentaries will be shown at UNESCO Headquarters, highlighting action taken by Mediterranean countries and other partner countries to strengthen early warning systems. And recent weeks have brought yet more devastating reminders of the urgent need to adapt our societies to the new environmental order. Like Hurricane Milton in the United States, followed by Storm Kirk, which swept across France and hit our headquarters. From Austria to Czechia to Vietnam and Spain, flooding has destroyed towns and taken lives. We must continue to respond forcefully to these extreme weather events, to this climate emergency. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, parmi les témoignages que compte notre exposition, il y a celui d'Aki Kawasaki, survivante du tsunami qui frappa les côtes orientales du Japon en 2011. Elle dit ces quelques mots pleins de confiance. Si vous êtes préparés, vous pouvez survivre. Il n'y a pas de fatalité. Et nous avons su démontrer notre capacité à bâtir un avenir plus sûr pour les communautés vulnérables et pour l'humanité entière. Je veux, pour terminer, saluer encore la mémoire des victimes et marquer notre reconnaissance envers les survivants pour l'espoir dont ils sont porteurs. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Tsu-Sing. Merci beaucoup pour vos remarques inspirantes. Asseyez-vous, bien sûr. Et je vais maintenant twister à l'anglais. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now turning to the voices of nations profoundly impacted by tsunamis since the great 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Over the last 20 years, these countries have demonstrated incredible resilience and strength, navigating a path from tragedy to recovery and renewal. We are very honored to have with us today representatives from 5 of the most affected nations by tsunamis in the past 20 years: India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Japan. Each ambassador will share their nation's journey to recovery, the lessons they've learned, and their hopes for the future of disasters preparedness. Representing India, we are very honored to welcome His Excellency, Mr. Vishal Sharma, Ambassador and Permanent Delegate to UNESCO. Ambassador Sharma, you've been a very steadfast advocate for multilateral collaboration in addressing global challenge, and this nation's recovery journey reflects resilience, community strength, and unwavering determination. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Mr. Deputy Director General, Excellencies and colleagues, Namaste. On 26th of December 2004, nearly 20 years ago, a 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Sumatra, unleashing massive tsunami waves that devastated 14 countries, claiming over 230,000 lives and displacing 2 million people. Indonesia lost more than 170,000 people. India lost nearly 11,000 lives, which exclude the missing. The Maldives suffered economic losses amounting to 62% of its GDP. Today, we gather in the august halls of UNESCO to remember those we lost and stand in solidarity with all the victims in all affected countries. This tragedy reminds us of the immense power of nature and the critical importance of preparedness and cooperation. In the aftermath of this disaster, the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO led in the establishment of the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System, the IOTWMS, in 2005 by establishing seismic and sea level observation systems, enabling detection, forecasting, and warning dissemination capabilities of countries, and capacity building of the communities through programs such as the UNESCO IOC Tsunami Ready. India partnered the IOC in this journey, and the IOTWMS has transformed disaster preparedness as a critical lifeline, ensuring that communities in the Indian Ocean Rim receive timely tsunami alerts. The Indian National Center for Tsunami Information Services, INCOIS, under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, is one of the 3 tsunami service providers under the IOTWMS framework, issuing timely tsunami alerts to countries in the Indian Ocean region. Further, INCOIS hosts the International Training Center for Operational Oceanography, that is a UNESCO Category 2 center, and the UNESCO Ocean Decade Collaborative Center for the Indian Ocean region, both of which play a critical role in promoting capacity development and regional collaboration. India championed community-level preparedness as demonstrated by Odisha State's tsunami-ready villages, which are recognized by UNESCO IOC as the first such communities in the Indian Ocean region. Indian experts contributed to IOC's efforts in developing the Ocean Decade Tsunami Program. Despite enormous progress under UNESCO IOC, several challenges still exist. More than half of the region's urban population lives in low-lying coastal areas, increasing exposure to tsunamis and other ocean-related hazards. Stronger international collaboration to improve hazard assessments, densifying monitoring networks, wider data sharing, faster data processing, new modeling techniques, localized communication networks, and the enhanced community preparedness in dealing with oceanogenic hazards are needed. India has also taken note of the recent call by the UNESCO's Director General and the UNESCO IOC Global Tsunami Symposium held in Banda Aceh for members to step up their investments and efforts to achieve 100% tsunami-ready communities by 2030. There is high-level commitment in India to continue working with the IOC and all partners towards strengthening end-to-end multi-hazard early warning systems and contributing to early warning for all by 2027 and the UNESCO decade outcome of a safe ocean by 2030. Friends, it is in our greatest tragedies that the human race finds its greatest strength. It is in our mourning that we understand the immense power of nature and time. After every destruction, there is creation. After every fall, there is a rise. It is from the ashes of destruction does the phoenix of human resilience rise. The future of the human race lies not in the bombs and bullets, but in its ability to unite and rise up through the ethical use of science and technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Excellency, for these words and these heartfelt reflections on India's, but not only India, resilience and recovery. Your insights remind us of the importance of shared responsibility and collaboration in the face of overwhelming challenge. Thank you very much. Next, I will welcome Mr. Ramandan Sia Hassan, Chargé d'Affaires, representing Indonesia, the country most affected by tsunami. Indonesia has played a pivotal role in advancing regional and global disaster preparedness efforts. Mr. Ramandan Sia Hassan, you can go to the pupitre and you will reflect Indonesia's journey from devastation to becoming a leader in disaster risk reduction. Mr. Ramadan Sia Hassan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Deputy Director General, Mr. Singh Q, Executive Secretary of the IOC, Mr. Vida Hegelson, Excellencies Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Government of Indonesia, a nation profoundly affected by tsunami, I stand before you with a heavy heart, yet filled with hope and determination as we commemorate the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. The Indian Ocean tsunami was not just a natural disaster. It was a wake-up call that transcended borders, reminding us of our shared vulnerability. In the aftermath, we witnessed extraordinary acts of solidarity and support from nations around the world. This unity is a testament to our collective strength and reminder that we are all part of a global community. Indonesia has made significant strides in this area. We have implemented comprehensive early warning system, enhanced infrastructure resilience, and fostered international cooperation. However, we recognize that technology alone is not enough. The true backbone of disaster preparedness lies within our communities. Local preparedness is essential to complement early warning system, empowering individuals to respond effectively in times of crisis. We must remember that resilience is not merely about bouncing back. It is about building forward, transforming our societies to withstand future challenges. By investing in local capacities, we can create a culture of preparedness that resonates deeply within our communities. The lesson learned from the tsunami must guide our action, as we strive for a safer, more resilient world. In closing, let us honor the memory of the lives lost by committing ourselves to a future where preparedness is a shared responsibility. Together, we can build a world where communities are empowered, where early warning systems are complemented by local action, and where the legacy of the Indian Ocean tsunami inspires us to work hand in hand for a safer tomorrow. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramandantia Hassan, for reminding us our shared vulnerability and our shared responsibility, for highlighting also Indonesia's journey and leadership in disaster preparedness. Your reflections underscore the critical role of community preparedness and early warning systems in saving lives. Representing Sri Lanka now, we are very privileged to welcome Her Excellency, Madam Manisha Gunasekera, Ambassador and Permanent Delegate to UNESCO. Sri Lanka's recovery, I will just present you, you can go there. Sri Lanka's recovery story is a testament to its people, courage and resolve. And Ambassador Gunasekera has been instrumental in sharing these experiences on the global stage. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Director General Shing Chi, Executive Secretary and ADG, Mr. Vidar Helgeson, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to address this distinguished gathering as we mark the solemn occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004, which was one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern times, and one that profoundly reshaped our approach to disaster preparedness and resilience. On the morning of Boxing Day, December 26, 2004, about 1 hour, 45 minutes after the earthquake in Sumatra, a 30-foot wave struck over 1,000 kilometers of Sri Lanka's coastline without warning, claiming approximately 35,000 lives, displacing entire communities and destroying infrastructure, and leaving 250,000 people without livelihoods. It was a humanitarian disaster of gigantic proportions. Its economic toll was immense, exceeding $1 billion, equivalent to about 4.5% of Sri Lanka's GDP. Beyond this, the disaster left deep emotional scars and pervasive trauma among our communities. Interestingly, until this disaster, the people of Sri Lanka did not know the meaning of the word tsunami. While there was sufficient time to receive warning of the disaster due to the time lag, there was none received, and the communities were taken by surprise and their lives swept away in seconds. Today, looking back 20 years down the road, what stands out most in our collective memory is not just the shock and the tragedy of it, but the generous outpouring of moral and material support and solidarity which we received from the international community, from countries, international organizations, and non-governmental organizations in the aftermath of the disaster. An important memory I have is as a young diplomat attached to our embassy in Tokyo, sitting in on a meeting with our then Minister of Science and Technology and the then Director General of UNESCO, Mr. Koichiro Matsuura, at the World Conference on Disaster Reduction in Kobe in January 2025, soon after the disaster, where Director General Matsuura and his team pledged UNESCO's fullest support in setting up a tsunami early warning system in Sri Lanka and in the region. The warmth and empathy of this meeting still resonates. Today, 20 years later, much of the support pledged in terms of tsunami disaster preparedness and technical support has become a reality. Today, Sri Lanka has, with the support of the international community, undertaken a transformative shift from reactive disaster response to proactive disaster risk reduction. The establishment of the Disaster Management Center in Sri Lanka in 2005, through an Act of Parliament, has marked a significant policy evolution, laying the foundation for a comprehensive national disaster risk reduction strategy. Now, UNESCO's leadership role in this transformative journey, particularly through its Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, or IOC, cannot be overstated. The IOC has been pivotal in strengthening disaster risk reduction in the region through the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System, what we call IOTWS. This has greatly benefited Sri Lanka, enhancing its early warning capabilities through technical collaboration with the designated tsunami providers of Australia, India, and Indonesia. Today, Sri Lanka's national early warning system has evolved into one of the most effective in the region, extending beyond its national borders. As an active member of IOTWS, Sri Lanka engages in regional fora, collaborates with neighboring countries, and shares best practices. Mr. Deputy Director General, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, I take this opportunity to extend Sri Lanka's deep appreciation and gratitude to UNESCO for its invaluable contribution to our recovery and preparedness efforts, and in moving forward. On the 26th of December this year, Sri Lanka will commemorate the 20th anniversary of the tsunami through a series of events. Ceremonies will be held across all 25 districts of our island nation, alongside a central national program to pay tribute to the victims and their families, while highlighting the nation's transformative journey of recovery, resilience, preparedness, and reflection over the past 2 decades. Most importantly, communities across generations will come together in solidarity, the old and the young, and they will look back and remember. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Excellency, for sharing Sri Lanka's inspiring perspective, your reflections on the importance of unity and community-driven recovery and solidarity resonate deeply, I think, this evening. It is now my pleasure to introduce Madame Suprani Kamyong, Deputy Permanent Delegate representing Thailand. You can go there, please. Thailand has shown exceptional perseverance and innovation in rebuilding and enhancing disaster preparedness. Madame Kamyong will share insights into her nation's recovery journey and future priorities. Madame Kamyong, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Deputy Director General, Excellency Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Thailand, I'm so honored to join you in remembering the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. This disaster claimed countless lives and caused immense suffering across the region. Today, we remember all those who lost their lives, pay tribute to the survivor, and express our profound gratitude to all who contributed to the rebuilding of our communities. The tsunami underscored the urgent need for the robust early warning and enhance disaster preparedness. In response, just 1 month after the tragedy, Thailand hosted a pivotal ministerial meeting that laid the foundation for the Indian Ocean tsunami warning and the mitigation system. Since its establishment, the system has been instrumental in saving lives by significantly improving early warning mechanism and response capabilities across the region. Thailand National Disaster Warning Center play a crucial role in ensuring timely tsunami alerts, ensuring our communities are informed and prepare for the potential disasters. Advanced warning are crucial in saving life. To enhance our readiness, we actively participate in regular drills, public awareness campaigns, and international programs, which enhance disaster preparedness and resilience to all nations bordering the Indian Ocean. Our collaboration with UNESCO IOC has been instrumental in achieving this milestone. Projects such as adaptive learning initiative and capacity building programs have provided us with tools to enhance evacuation drills, develop standard operating procedures, and build community resilience. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, despite significant progress, challenges persist. Climate change and rising sea levels present ongoing threats, underscoring the necessity of the continuous collaboration to refine early warning system and implement sustainable environmental protection measures. Thailand remains steadfast in its commitment to supporting global efforts aimed at safeguarding lives and building more resilient and sustainable communities. As we honor and memory of those lost in the 2004 tsunami, let us renew our dedication to strengthening international cooperation and preparedness. Together, we can mitigate the impact of future disaster and prevent unnecessary loss of life. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Madame Kanyong, and for representing Thailand and sharing such thoughtful reflections. Your words really demonstrate the enduring strength of community spirit, the solidarity, the togetherness, and the importance of preparedness. Our final speaker in this segment is His Excellency Mr. Takehiro Kano, Ambassador and Permanent Delegate of Japan to UNESCO. Mr. Ambassador Kano, you can go to the pupitre. Japan's vast expertise in disaster risk reduction and early warning systems has provided invaluable support to the global community. Ambassador Kano will now reflect on Japan's experiences and contributions to advancing tsunami preparedness worldwide, which is very important. Ambassador Kano, the floor is yours.
Mr. Deputy Director General, Mr. Executive Secretary of IOC, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this important event. On the occasion of a commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, I would like to reiterate my heartfelt sympathy for the tsunami victims while sharing how we have been working collectively to make our communities more resilient in the last 2 decades. When the Indian Ocean tsunami hit wide-ranging coastal countries 20 years ago, Japan, as a maritime island nation that has tackled with tsunamis for centuries, was one of the first to respond in mobilizing international support through various means and at different stages, from immediate humanitarian assistance to long-term reconstruction. A couple of weeks after the Indian Ocean tsunami, in early 2005, as Ambassador of Sri Lanka just mentioned, we hosted UN Conference of Disaster Reduction in Kobe City, leading to the adoption of the Hyogo Framework for Action as the first global agreement on disaster risk reduction. 60 years thereafter, on the 11th of March, 2011, when Great East Japan earthquake hit the coast of Northeast Japan, it was not the earthquake itself, nor the accident of Fukushima Daiichi power plant, but tsunami caused by the earthquake that took nearly 20,000 lives of people. Japan was the recipient of international support then, for which we are grateful. In 2011, in Sendai, a city in the region affected by the 2011 tsunami, we hosted, again, UN conference, which adopted the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, succeeding to the Hyogo framework. Also, in the same year, Japan took the initiative at UN General Assembly for the adoption of the resolution designating 5th November as World Tsunami Awareness Day. Next year marks the 10th anniversary of the Sendai Framework and World Tsunami Awareness Day. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the record in the past 2 decades show that tsunamis and natural disasters may harm us, but cannot stop us being more resilient by working together. And UNESCO is one of the key platforms for international cooperation. Last month, the Executive Board adopted a decision by consensus on implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction proposed by Japan. This decision aims to strengthen UNESCO's response by promoting intersectoral efforts and cooperation with other organizations. Also, Japan has actively supported IOC's tsunami-related activities for many years. This year, we have launched a support program called Bridging Japanese and UNESCO IOC Expertise on Geohazard Early Warning System to support Pacific and Caribbean seas. UNESCO and IOC play unique roles in international efforts for disaster risk reduction. Fostering people's awareness is one example. Messages of tsunami witnesses are precious legacies to be shared in many countries, alerting the importance of tsunami preparedness and impacting on scientific and policy discussions in many international fora. Japan will continue to work with other international partners to build a more resilient society, drawing on lessons learned from precious sacrifices of past disasters. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your profound reflections and for highlighting Japan's enduring commitment to disaster risk reduction. Your nation's leadership in early warning systems and resilience building inspires us all in this room and in the world. I really want to thank you, dear ambassadors, for sharing your powerful and heartfelt reflections and for reminding us of the incredible resilience demonstrated by your nations, by your people, by humanity, if I may say so. You can now go back to your seats. Thank you very much, ambassadors. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, we move into one of the most poignant parts of this evening. You must be prepared, it will be emotional. We will hear personal stories of survival and courage. These stories bring us closer to understanding the human impact of tsunamis. They remind us of the strength of the human spirit, the vulnerability, but the strength, as it was just said, and the power of community in overcoming unimaginable adversity. To join us for this important segment of our event, may I say arguably the most important segment of this evening, I would like to call on stage Matt Porteous and Tamsin Ren and Mr. Pradeep Kodipili from Sri Lanka. Mr. Matt Porteous and Tamsin Ren. Yes, you can join me on stage. Mr. Pradeep Kodipili from Sri Lanka. Mr. Pradeep, yes, you can come on stage. Please just sit, and I'll call you after, of course. And I want to call Mrs. Milanda Adu from Indonesia. And she will be accompanied with Mrs. Irina Rafliana, who will be her interpreter. Mrs. Milanda Adu, please go on stage. And we are very, very honored, pleased, and moved to have you on stage. And thank you for doing the entrepreneurial, Mrs. Irina Rafliana. Let's begin by presenting a very special project called the Tsunami Sea Change for Resilience, featuring the works of Matt Porteous and Tamsin Ren, who have joined us here tonight. Matt and Tamsin, together you collaborated with UNESCO, Nautilus Magazine, and the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction to create the Tsunami Sea Change for Resilience project, which celebrates human resilience while paying tribute to the lives lost. Through this initiative, they captured, both of them, powerful portraits of survivors and documented through their testimonies the profound impact of tsunamis on communities. I will let you both present your work so that we can do it justice. Please join me, everybody, to welcome Matt and Tamsin. You can go there if you want. And Matt Porteosa, just saying, is also the royal family photographer. And when you're not documenting, Matt, the Ocean Culture Life, the project you founded together with Tamsin Rain. And I will let you explain and show us, I think, first a small video presenting your website, Tsunami Sea Change for Resilience. And just adding that your photos, your picture of the Tsunami Sea Change for Resilience are displayed on the UNESCO fences just outside. We'll speak about them later. The floor is yours, Matt.
I believe we are starting with a video.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. Silence brings out so much in the personality, and I think that's a beautiful thing about capturing portraits. We came into this kind of without too much information. I want to just tell these inspiring stories.
I felt like I understood so much of their story by just watching their body language and feeling the emotion and watching their eyes as they relived the memory.
I think from being in a location like this for 4 days and hearing these stories of such huge disasters, but seeing the love that they have for our planet and our people and wanting to use this experience for good, things that you know that they've been through and what makes them happy, brings out a certain look in their face, and I connect with that when I take the pictures.
It's about learning from each other's experiences. It completely has altered my outlook on what a tsunami even is. The word in my mind now is completely different as to what it was a week ago, and I just hope that these stories can do the same for a lot of other people.
I don't think there was a lot of understanding before the 2004 tsunami, but there's also not a lot of understanding since then, the amount of tsunamis that have happened and the very different ways that they've happened. You don't have hours and hours. Some of them are caused by landslides, some of them are caused by volcanoes. Some just happen instantly.
There's a lot of places in the world that don't expect a tsunami to hit because it hasn't happened in their lifetime, but it does happen and they are at extreme risk of it happening. It's been a really moving week and such an honor and a privilege.
That connection that you have when you can't communicate with them because they speak a different language. I think I just come onto shoots like this and I find my purpose again and how much I love capturing portraits. I feel like this is the best portrait that I've ever taken. Thank you very much. I'm hoping it'll go onto the screen up here in a second. Does this work? I think there should be a slideshow. There should be a slide. Anybody?
Yeah.
Aha. Okay, now we can go back. I have to say that standing up on the stage today and being involved in this project has been the biggest honor of my career. Every portrait, every story that I've captured throughout my journey has always been to try to share stories of hope. And our time, those 4 days capturing these portraits and hearing the resilience of the individuals that we captured was a very special moment for me as a photographer and a storyteller. Tsunamis are not just natural disasters, they're profound human stories of loss, survival, and resilience. As a photographer for the Tsunami Eyewitness and Survivors Project, I've captured these stories to preserve their lessons and honor the voices of those who lived through these unimaginable events. Oh, it's gone back. Harnessing strength through storytelling. Survivors share their experience not as victims, but as advocates, using their voices to educate and empower others. Everybody that stood before me, I asked them what filled their heart with love. And what came back from them was family, hope, and community. Just asking that simple question allowed the expression on their faces to share that hope and allowed them to think and reflect, but also to be able to know that the story and the message that they were sharing was going to be able to shine hope on the rest of the world. Personal narratives transform statistics into relatable experiences. Offering survivors insights into is essential for education and awareness. Love, resilience, and education all comes through the personal human story. I might have run it forward a little bit. Global voices of resilience. A shared human experience across diverse contexts. Hearing stories from different regions highlights the universal impact of tsunamis, emphasizing the need for global solidarity and preparation. Global community and stories build knowledge. These faces, these individual stories, the portraits of each and every one of these individuals that were so strong to stand up and to talk in front of us on the screen, were so strong to be part of. Visual storytelling evokes empathy and it drives awareness by capturing resilience, courage, and hope through powerful portraits. Survivors amplify their voices for a greater purpose, sharing their stories to raise awareness and inspire action in vulnerable communities worldwide. By turning adversity into empowerment, they heal through recounting their experience and becoming catalysts for change, guiding others towards resilience. Seeing the faces of the survivors up on the stage at UNESCO and just to be heard and to know that their story is being shared, I saw how proud they were to be sitting here in June last year and also right now with us today. These portraits that we've captured are more than just images. They are enduring legacies that illuminate the human toll of inaction whilst inspiring a future where every voice is heard, every lesson is learned, and no life is needlessly lost to unpreparedness. I thank you all very much for allowing me to stand on this stage and to capture these stories. And I truly, I hope everybody can have a little scan of this because it takes you to the UNESCO site and each and every individual story that we captured are all on there to hear. It's really important, and I thank UNESCO for getting us involved in this project, and I thank you all very much for listening today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead, Nancy.
Mr. Deputy Director General, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to stand here today as we honour the memories of those we lost celebrate the resilience of survivors and communities, and reflect on the progress made in disaster preparedness and risk reduction over the past two decades. At Ocean Culture Life, we believe in the power of stories to connect us, to teach us, and to inspire change. Our charity is built on a simple but profound idea. In order to protect the ocean, and in turn to protect ourselves, we must first learn about it. The ocean shapes us. It shapes our world in ways that many of us don't fully understand, and it connects us all together, regardless of where we live, and sustains life on this planet as we know it today. But it does also hold immense power, as we've seen through these stories of tsunami survivors. These stories remind us of the importance of respecting and understanding the ocean, not just as a force of nature, but as a lifeline that supports billions of people worldwide. At OCL, we are committed to improving ocean literacy, helping communities and individuals everywhere understand their connection to the sea. Through education, storytelling, and advocacy, we strive to empower people to take action, whether by restoring ecosystems, adapting to climate challenges, or rebuilding resilience in their communities. This exhibition is a testament to the strength of human spirit and the profound role that the ocean plays in our lives. But it's also a call to action. We have made progress, but there is still so much we can do. I invite each of you to join us in our mission to give a voice to the ocean, whether it's through supporting ocean education, amplifying the stories of the most connected to the sea, or taking action within your own communities, because together we can create a future where the ocean thrives, and so do we. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt and Tamsin. Come, and thank you very much for these moving portraits, for giving a face to resilience and to humanity, and for speaking for the ocean and for the seas and for our connection. We are very deeply honored to have with us two survivors here whose powerful stories are at the heart of this project, and I know that you both, Pradeep, Kodipili, and you, Milan Ladu, will inspire our future. Our first speaker is you, Mr. Pradeep Kodipili, who survived the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Your story of loss, courage, and recovery is a poignant reminder of the human toll of this disaster and the importance of global efforts to prevent such tragedies in the future. Mr. Kodipili, I will sit down and speak to you directly. Could you share with us your story? And you will take a mic because, yeah, it will be better. I think it is open. Yes. And can you share the way you managed to live through this terrible day of December 26, 2004?
Thank you very much for inviting me as a tsunami survivor. And first of all, I think one of the important things is Her Excellency, the Ambassador, she clearly mentioned the word of the tsunami never knew in Sri Lankan community, even myself. In 2004, I still remember the day, the 25th night, because I was in front of around 350 meters from the seashore. So there were a lot of parties and all gatherings were there because of the Christmas Day. And the following morning, because I used to live little away from the main coastal area in my wife's home. In the morning, my mom called me. So there are some rumors and people running. There's something happening in the sea. But I told her, just be away from my home, because I know really that my home will be totally affected. So after 5 minutes, I got some suits and I thought to rush to my home. But all the mobile phones and all not been working by that time. The communication was totally disrupted. Then I came to my home, but fortunately they have been evacuated. But I never knew about that one. When I was running in front of my home, I really got a sound. It's like a jet moving. So I never knew the tsunami second wave. Even the word, not tsunami, I never knew. And I tried to move, but I was swept away, and my left leg totally broken, the muscles and all been gone. One of my friend who called Mahesh, so he tried to escape me, but he died in front of my eyes. And so I saw a lot of people crying. So they lost everything, and my house totally damaged. And around 11 feet, sometimes we cannot move with that wave. That was too fast. So luckily I was saved because of what canal is moving. So with the canal, the water was receded, and with the log, I really escaped. I don't know how, maybe God knows of that. I saved. But finally, the millions of people been affected. Thousands of people been died, right? In Sri Lanka, 35,000 lives. Families still crying for their kids. Fortunately, I joined with the Disaster Management Center. I don't know how I joined, but really, I can assure, so no one will die, even if there is a tsunami again. So with the UNESCO team, I worked in 2008, since 2008, and the IOTWMS, because we started in IOTWMS 2014, but I worked there since 2008. Really, the tsunami, because we don't have time, because we had, but 6:58 in the morning, we had an earthquake, and we had 1.5 hours. Really sad to say, we had the first wave at the Sangaman Kanda Tudur, the most eastern part of our country, by 8:30 in the morning. But I have been affected 9:20 in the morning, no any communication set up there. If somebody called me, there is something in the eastern area, then I could save. I could save a lot of lives around my village. But the communication, the early warning, not were there. So that is my story. And actually, the people in Sri Lanka, because we are island country, so surrounded by the sea, and we have a threat from the eastern side and as well as the western under the Oman, Makran Trench. So the preparation is much better. Definitely we need to prepare for that one, because we never know, like the Japanese ambassador, His Excellency clearly mentioned, 20,000 people died. So prediction will not be proactive. Definitely.
And Pradeep, from your own experience, you say the preparedness is better than before. What message could you give us for community working together, for greater resilience, and for a better preparation?
Yes. Like Sri Lanka, sometimes we cannot mitigate the tsunami. What we have to do, promoting the early warning and ensuring the people evacuation, timely evacuation. So it might be the horizontal evacuation or the vertical evacuation. But the important thing is to save all these communities. Awareness is one of the very important things. But I'm heading the awareness division as well, because I'm awareing all the communities. So this is one of a very important event to express my view as a tsunami victim, and also the managing the tsunami right now.
Thank you very much, Pradeep, for sharing. So sincerely, I'm moved by your testimony, your powerful story. And I want now to turn to Miss Milanda Adu. You are our next speaker. You survived the 2018 tsunami. that struck Palu, Indonesia. Your experience shed light on the ongoing risks faced by coastal communities and the critical role of preparedness in saving lives and fostering recovery. And to serve as an interpreter for Mrs. Adu, we are very pleased to have you here. I would like to present one of our tsunami experts, Irina Rafliana, sociologist at the German Institute of Development and Sustainability. The only thing I can say in Indonesia, Milanda Adu, is terima kasih for being here. And can you share with your interpreter, Irina, can you share your most recent story of survival of a most recent tsunami? What is your experience and what can you share? What message can you share with us this evening?
Bisa bercerita tentang kisah yang pernah dihadapi oleh Mbak Milanda dan juga pesan apa yang ingin disampaikan kepada masyarakat dunia.
Jadi waktu itu saya sedang berada di Anjungan, lagi ada pameran, saya menjual produk dari kantor saya. Tiba-tiba saya mendengar suara gemuruh dan gempa yang guncangnya ke bawah terus ke samping. Saya terjatuh. Setelah itu saya lompat karena tempat saya berdiri itu patah. Saya lompat dari area situ, kemudian saya lari. Setelah saya lari, saya mendengar teriakan orang. Dia bilang, tenang, tidak bakal tsunami karena ini Palu, karena Palu ini teluk, jadi tidak bakal tsunami. Jadi setelah itu saya mendengar suara orang teriakan seperti itu, saya lari lagi. Saya lari ke sebuah gedung tingkat 2 kantor polisi. Saya melihat naik ke gedung. Setelah saya naik ke gedung, saya dengar teriakan lagi, saya disuruh untuk turun karena gedungnya mau runtuh. Setelah saya turun, saya langsung berbalik ke arah pantai melihat air tsunami-nya itu sudah tinggi. Dan pas saya balik untuk lari, tsunami itu sudah menghantam saya, menggulung saya hingga saya terbawa jauh. Akhirnya saya terbawa jauh. Di situ saya tersangkut di antara bangunan dan kawat pagar yang berduri menancap di dada saya. Di depan ada seorang ibu-ibu dan di samping kiri saya ada seorang anak laki-laki masih kecil. Kemudian ibu itu berkata, ibu anaknya selamatkan, tapi saya bilang itu bukan anak saya. Kemudian setelah itu karena airnya semakin naik sampai di leher saya langsung melepaskan kawat berduri itu karena saya ingin menyelamatkan anak kecil yang di samping saya. Setelah berhasil saya selamatkan diri saya dan anak kecil itu, kami keluar dari air terus berjalan hingga airnya yang sudah dangkal. Kami berjalan sampai ke rumah kurang lebih 1 jam. Di jalan ada orang berkata, kenapa badannya basah? Saya bilang terjadi tsunami di pantai, tapi mereka bilang sama saya bohong. Jadi saya berjalan terus lagi hingga sampai ke rumah. Dan saya sempat jatuh karena kepala saya sudah sangat sakit. Kepala saya sudah luka yang cukup besar. Hingga saya berjalan terus sampai ke rumah. Sampai di rumah saya bertemu ayah saya. Dan ayah saya melihat di bagian kepala saya sudah luka begitu parah. Akhirnya ayah saya bawa saya ke rumah sakit untuk dijahit kepala saya tanpa biusan. Dan malam itu juga saya menginap di rumah sakit beratapkan langit. Terima kasih.
So that afternoon, she was at the point of the infrastructure right on the tip of the bay, in involved in an exhibition and selling the products from her office. All of a sudden, a strong earthquake shook with a very loud voice, and the ground shaking went right to the left, up and down. And then the infrastructure that she was standing on broken down. She tried to run away, and everybody was screaming, "Don't run away, because Palu is safe from tsunami. It's not possible for Palu to have a tsunami." When she tried to reach out the police office and she'd go up to the second floor. Again, the community said, "You don't need to evacuate because that tsunami is not possible to happen." She then climbed down again from the office, and then at that point of time, she moved her body towards the coastal line and saw the wave coming in so high. And then she tried to run away as fast as she could. She got swallowed by the water, and she got hit by different debris. Water's coming in her mouth. She got caught between two walls, and then also caught in a pointy barbed wire. The barbed wire stabbed her chest. At that time, she saw a small child right next to an elder woman, and the elder woman said that is not her son. So she tried to take off the barbed wire off her neck and tried to save the little child and to climb together away from the waters. She walked with barefoot in between of the debris and not realizing that her head was injured. The small boy was still strong and keep on walking with her. They both walked together for 1 hour, and then she arrived at her home. People saw her and asked why your body are wet. And she said, I got caught by a tsunami. And then people didn't believe her. It's not possible that a tsunami can happen in Palu. And then she arrived at home. Her father realized that she had a very large injured and scar that needs to be taken to the hospital and got treatment with 10 centimeters of stitches at that time. She spent the night at that time in the hospital, feeling unsafe with different patients, staying outside with the sky as the roof.
Thank you very much, Milanda, for this testimony, which is very, very moving. How did you manage in the small video, because there was also a project created by UNESCO for the survivors and the witness. You say that you managed to stay calm and quiet. Do you have not a recipe, but how did you manage to be calm and quiet when everybody told you it's not possible that there is a tsunami, and while you were living a tsunami in Palu?
Menurut Milanda, bagaimana caranya kita bisa tetap tenang menghadapi situasi seperti itu? Situasi yang sulit seperti itu.
Menurut saya, situasi yang seperti itu kita jangan panik. Kalau terus kita lari aja sampai di tempat yang aman. Begitu.
In such situation, it is better not to be taken over by the panic that you feel. Try to be as calm as possible and run away to higher ground until you know you're safe.
Thank you very much for this testimony. I want to ask you not really the same questions between survivors and photographer, and it's not the same point exactly, but what do you think, and I will begin with you, Milanda, what do you think you kept from this terrible experience? And what would be your message? What can you tell us about it?
Apa yang menjadi kenangan yang terus disimpan oleh Milanda? Pertama, yang kedua, apa pesan Milanda bagi masyarakat dunia? Yang selalu diingat, yang tidak bisa dilupa dari Milanda, dari kejadian yang pernah dialami
Maybe for
tadi.
the future.
Yang saya ingat yang tidak bakal saya lupa dari kejadian itu bahwa di saat saya dalam keadaan seperti itu, saya tidak menyangka saya juga bisa membantu anak kecil itu yang saya ambil dari samping saya. Rasa kemanusiaan saya begitu besar, saya harus memikirkan orang lain juga agar bisa selamat bersama.
What she could never forget in that kind of situation is that she still can help this small child.
Yeah.
And at that time, she felt that her humanity is larger than life, and that she really needs to make sure that both of them can survive the difficult situation.
Yeah, we can say bravo, really, really. Pradeep Kodipidi, I ask you the same question. What do you keep from this tragedy? What, not really your message, but what is in your personal life? What do you keep?
I think we need to think tsunami will not be, but we are expecting. So the message to the people around the world, because we are not alive for 400, 500 years. We are living for a short period because we need to save the lives. So like the Japanese experience, the word of the tsunami came from the Japanese harbor view. The message, the preparedness is one of the very important things. Mm-hmm. Early warning. So if somebody, even myself, not receiving the early warning, that he or she should definitely to attend to get the early warning, because we are expecting the tsunami around the world. So submerging plates are moving around the globe. We are in a dynamic situation because we are moving every time. So the tsunami cannot be predicted. So earthquakes cannot be predicted. But the preparation, the early warning, because if somebody dies from our family, everyone feel the sadness for whole lifetime. But if we can save even one life from this world, you can enjoy your life every time. That's why, to my message to the community, the preparation, early warning, and preparedness is one of the very important points to save the millions of lives around the countries.
Thank you very much for this message. I think we can applaud Pradeep. And now, Tamsin, it's not the same experience, but what has been the personal impact for you of this work on the ocean, on the Tsunami project?
I think to extend on Pradeep's point there, my word would be hope, because there is hope, and these stories of resilience and survival do give us hope. And for us, it's about the power of storytelling, and I believe that storytelling can educate, inspire, and help protect lives moving forward. And being able to document and share these stories of resilience and hope gives me hope. So it's not just a privilege and an honor, but a need and necessity, I think, to share these stories. And I hope this exhibition can continue, not just around the communities, but live within generations in order to educate and so that people understand what they can do to prepare. So I think storytelling has a big role to play here.
Matt, what is your answer after all these photographies, pictures? You told us a little bit, but to give a face to resilience, what impact in your own life?
Yeah, I think a lot of what Tamsin just said there, I think that what I really learned from spending those 4 days with the survivors was, through the most extreme of cases that can happen to anybody, they had more resilience and more love to give than maybe anyone else that I photographed before. There was a certain love that I haven't felt from capturing a portrait before, and to be seen, to be heard, and to be able to allow to share their story and help others was incredibly powerful for me to be able to capture. And I saw it in each and every one of them, and that's why I was so proud to work on this project. It really is resilience and hope that came from it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We can applaud all of you, really. Thank you very much. Thank you for the interpretation. And, well, I heard the word love, hope, resilience, saving one life at least. I think it's humanity that we share together, and thank you very much for this. Your stories highlight the profound impact of individual and collective action in disaster recovery, and how individual stories can relate us to our universal and collective human and environmental history, which is so important right now. To conclude this segment, we are now honored to share a special message from another survivor from the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, Petra Nemkova, Goodwill Ambassador for Disaster Risk Reduction. Mrs. Nemkova's advocacy has brought global attention to the importance of preparedness and resilience. She has founded with David Campbell the non-profit organization All Hands and Hearts, which focus on addressing both immediate and long-term needs of community impacted with disaster. After the devastating earthquake in Nepal in 2015, they both joined the two organizations, All Hands Volunteer and Happy Hearts Fund. All Hands and Heart, that could be, I think, our motto for this evening. Let's hear, ladies and gentlemen, the message of Mrs. Petra Nemkova, who is very sorry because family and professional obligations kept her from joining the event tonight in person. But please join me in watching excerpts from an interview she gave recently to UNESCO, especially for this event. Let's listen and see Petra Nemkova video.
Hi, my name is Petra Nemkova. I am disaster risk reduction champion and tsunami awareness advocate, as well as co-founder of All Hands and Hearts. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which took over 230,000 lives, including the life of my partner Simon, has changed my life on so many deep levels. My personal life, my professional life, my values, my purpose in life. And it made everything more profound and beautiful. Learning about the gap which happens after natural disasters, where children and communities, they have to wait for 4 years, 6 years to have a school to go back to, not even disaster resilience school, just any school. Learning that some schools don't even get rebuilt. And when children don't go to school, they're exposed to all kinds of danger. To me, learning that children continue suffering after already surviving tsunamis and disasters, losing their loved ones. To me, it was unacceptable that they have to continue this suffering. That's why now, almost 20 years, I've been dedicating my time to helping those children and those communities, volunteering my time, sometimes 70%, sometimes 100% of my time, establishing organization which is addressing the needs of children and community post-disasters. And the foundation name is All Hands and Hearts. Resilience has been important to us since the beginning, and we implement disaster risk reduction in all our programs, and especially the school rebuild programs, where we take really holistic approach, working with local communities to create local capacity for preparedness and mitigation. We align with our disaster risk reduction with UNDRR and the Sendai framework for ensuring quality and consistency for building resilient communities. And also we align with comprehensive school safety framework, which is focused on children's rights and resilience within educational system. So we do a few different things, and for example, all our schools our disaster resilient schools, from the planning to construction to maintenance. Also, after we leave, we ensure that there's a school disaster management, which really is bringing the sort of change of culture of preparedness, not just within the school, but within community, by establishing committed committees and much, much more. We also implement disaster risk reduction into the actual curriculums of the schools. So these are some of the examples of what we do, and it's definitely a beautiful, powerful teamwork with the community and, of course, the different agencies who have been committed to providing safer world. Just in the last fiscal year in 2024, we built 20 disaster resilient schools for 3,000 children, and we trained in disaster risk reduction over 1,000 community members. But of course, the work is much, much greater than this, so we need to continue. First, I would like to start with one of the biggest lessons from the 2004 tsunami, is that we underestimate the power of nature. And we don't put enough emphasis on building resilient communities that can be prepared for, react to, and recover from tsunamis or other disasters. When we act, is usually too late, and the cost of lives, livelihoods, dreams, infrastructure is far too great. To inspire hope, I see hope in everyone who has been dedicating their time, their work, to protect communities through preparedness and mitigation, for building in resilience. I see hope in our volunteers, our All Hands and Hearts family, who dedicate their time, their know-how, their resources to build disaster resilient schools so children and communities can be safe from next natural disasters. To inspire action, I would say, when nature strikes, we are this small and powerless unless we are prepared. Please, let's don't wait for nature to show us her power.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening closely to all these testimonies, stories of resilience, which remind us of the importance of listening to their voices, listening to the voices of those affected by disasters and learning from their experience, learning from our vulnerability and the power of nature, as it was just said. They are all a call to action for all of us to strengthen our commitment to disaster risk reduction and preparedness, and to be closer to our humanity. Now I would like to invite on stage the ambassadors, all the ambassadors and member state representatives from impacted countries present here. If you can come on stage and join the survivors and our testimony. You stay on stage, yes, of course. We are gonna take a moment all together. Yes, you can come on stage, the ambassadors, member states representatives, because we are going to take a moment to honor those we lost and celebrate the resilience of those who survive. And please, can you come? And yeah, you stand up, and we'll ask Pradeep and Milanda if you can be in front. Yeah. And Pradeep, and yeah, you will be in front. She will be in front, and Pradeep also. Yes. You can all stand on the same line, yeah. Yeah, of course. In memoriam, we will take a deep breath to recover. And the flag of the 15 impacted countries are going to be highlighted on stage. Les drapeaux des 15 pays impactés vont être allumés et nous allons observer un moment de silence. A solemn tribute to lives lost, the life rebuilt, and a symbol of hope for a safer, tsunami-ready future and for our common humanity. 1 minute of silence, please. The minute is over. Thank you very much, and special thanks to our survivors. You can go back to your seats as you wish. Thank you very much. In memoriam, we all take a deep breath now to recover from this soulful tribute to the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami survivors, their loss, pain, and resilience. I would like now to bring your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to a very interesting video produced in collaboration between the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, and UNESCO for the 2024 edition of World Tsunami Awareness Day, celebrated each year on the 5th of November.
Back in 2004 in the Indian Ocean, we basically didn't have a warning system.
There was only the Pacific system. There was no system in the Indian Ocean and nowhere else in the world.
Tsunamis, they're difficult to warn for, very difficult. The earthquake happens and the tsunami could arrive 20, 30 minutes later. As we saw in 2004, it could take 10 hours just to cross the whole Indian Ocean. It travels at the speed of a jet airliner in the deep ocean.
The system in 2004 was just a few stations in real time, and it took quite a while to get an idea of how big the earthquake is and what extent that it might have ruptured. Today, we can know and have an idea of what the tsunami impact in terms of a forecast, probably within 10, 20, 30 minutes.
We have deep ocean buoys. So we have a pressure sensor on the bottom and the data is transmitted through the satellite. Now what we're looking for is other technologies that we can complement those with. You have these communication cables spreading across the ocean floor in different places. That's got electricity. We can put our sensors along the lines of the cables, get that extra information which will help us get more timely and more accurate tsunami warnings.
Our big gap probably now and continues to be when your tsunami is within probably an hour or within 5 minutes from you. It's still very difficult, if not impossible, for most warning centers around the world to provide a tsunami warning in time for a local event. It's a combination of not only detection and analysis, but communication of that information down to the public, down to a rural community.
You know, if you're close to the earthquake, you will feel the earthquake. That's your best warning sign because the technology just takes time to get the data. But we also educate people, if you're at the coast, feel the earthquake, it's time to run to higher ground.
The practical part of it is don't depend on someone else. If you think you might be in danger, don't delay, especially if you know you have a local threat.
We now discuss exactly of this, of 20 years of preparedness with our expert panel. And I would like to invite all our experts to come on stage, please. I will call back again Dr. Irina Rafliana, not as an interpreter, but as a sociologist and researcher at the German Institute of Development and Sustainability, Indonesian by nationality. Irina has been closely involved with tsunami risk communication. I will ask Dr. François Schindele. Yeah, you can come on stage and take a seat. François Schindele, je vais passer au français, expert international en géophysique et système d'alerte au tsunami au CEA, et qui jusqu'à récemment est également président du système d'alerte au tsunami et de migration et de mitigation du Pacifique avant 2004. Dr. Peter Kolterman, who tonight is in many ways returning home, as you were the head of the Tsunami Coordination Unit of UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission between 2006 and 2010, and you're leading German oceanographer. And joining us by video because of flight problem, we will have also Professor Dvikorita Karnawati. She's the director of the Indonesian Agency for Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics, and she's an expert. She was previously on operational aspects of tsunami, and she was the chair of the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System for the period 2019 to 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move toward the close of this important commemoration, it is essential to reflect on the progress achieved over the past 2 decades in disaster preparedness and tsunami resilience. And our panelists tonight will bring a wealth of experience in science, disaster management, and international collaboration. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed partners. To begin our discussion, I would like to address a question to you, Dr. Irina Rafliana. You've been involved with tsunami risk communication and research for the past 19 years. And how is it possible for you, do you think, to ensure global tsunami resilience from the risk communication and management perspective? How can we be better prepared?
Thank you very much. But first of all, I would like to say how I am immensely honored to be part of this solemn commemoration. I really am also, as mentioned before, shaped by the Indian Ocean tsunami professionally and personally. And I think working with tsunami the past almost 2 decades is like working with a moving target. It's not static. Geologically, politically, socially, are moving targets. So trying to address this moving target is not an easy task. And I honor everybody who decide to join in with all of their efforts and strengths and never-ending processes and learning processes as well to be engaged in this. Often science are not really ready to follow these moving targets. Often we are constricted by fundings, constricted by deliverables, while at the same time we have to understand that the earth is much bigger than the human. And that particular notion is also enlightening for me. I learned from the past probably 20 events, at least in Indonesia, that is very significant earthquake-wise, or also generating tsunami in many different ways. So once we learned from the Aceh 2004, we became surprised again in 2010 with the Mentawai tsunami, then surprised again, and surprised again, and surprised again. But what is important here to see, what does these surprises mean to us as humans? This moving target is speaking to us, and we need to do something differently perhaps after these 20 years of efforts, of collective efforts that we have been doing. So that would be a huge challenge for me, also as a risk communication practitioner and at the same time as a scientist.
To learn from the lessons, to get lessons, and which lessons you told us, but to change in which ways? I mean,
initially we can only afford, for example, to have a kind of a broad brush framework, one size fits all warning system, for example, for Indonesia. The warning system that we have was developed and also emphasizing initially for the Sunda Arc threat, But then we have the Palu event, which is not, part of the Sunda Arc threat. It's very unique. And we learned from that. And we felt like we need to also think differently. Community needs to have even more stronger capacity to react first before the warning comes in. And that is something that we learn a lot from other different events. So to rely and to encourage advancements of technology, but at the same time to be this sense of humility, accepting that this technology might not be able to serve us entirely, and therefore we need to rethink how humans can build their own preparedness is also a huge challenge. The government would need to invest a lot in the development of the tsunami warning system, and this is not cheap at all. And it needs to be constantly developed or even increasing. And then the public will ask us, okay, now we invest a lot with our tax money. This system has to save us, but that's not always the case. So this is not easy. And I think this is a very important avenue for us to again rethink about how we've been learning in the past 20 years and how we can improve better in terms of saving lives.
I think we'll go back to you after, but I want also to hear, Doctor, because it's very inspiring what you are saying. François Chindele, je vais vous parler en français. Vous êtes un voisin, vous êtes expert international en géophysique et système d'alerte au tsunami au CEA, coordinateur du Centre national d'alerte au tsunami depuis sa fondation, et jusqu'à récemment, vous étiez président du système d'alerte au tsunami du Pacifique avant 2004. Vous avez été impliqué, Dr Chindele, dans tous les efforts de la Commission océanographique intergouvernementale de l'UNESCO pour développer des procédures d'alerte précoce au tsunami et au tsunami non sismique. Quelles leçons vous avez pu tirer? Quel message vous pouvez nous faire partager? On se rend bien compte des défis majeurs face à ces questions-là, des défis humains, des défis scientifiques, technologiques, mais en même temps, quelle leçon vous avez l'impression qu'on a pu tirer de ces différents tsunamis?
Bonsoir, et je voulais remercier aussi, je suis honoré de faire partie de cette table ronde, et rappeler aussi qu'en fait, la présidence du groupe Tsunami du Pacifique, je l'ai assumée justement en 2004, lorsque s'est passé cet événement. Et ça me rappelle certaines réunions de l'UNESCO, justement de la COI, où on discutait auparavant de l'impact possible des tsunamis dans les autres bassins. Et il a fallu malheureusement cet événement tragique au niveau mondial pour avoir un écho de l'ensemble des pays au niveau mondial et d'investir en fait dans l'océan Indien, mais également dans les autres bassins, donc la Méditerranée, l'Atlantique, la Caraïbe, sans attendre de prochains événements. Donc, pour revenir à ce groupe plus récent où j'étais également impliqué, ainsi que Rick Bailey et Laura Kong qui étaient dans la dernière vidéo, des tsunamis d'origine non sismique sont une autre problématique, mais ils sont importants également parce qu'ils représentent quand même 20% des tsunamis au niveau de notre connaissance, et quasiment autant que tous ceux qui ont impacté la Méditerranée, l'Atlantique, l'océan Indien et les Caraïbes. Donc c'est un chiffre pas négligeable. Ils ont une origine, et ça a été déjà évoqué auparavant, essentiellement des glissements. Je ne vais pas rentrer dans tous les détails scientifiques, mais quand même. Et au niveau volcanique, on a vu récemment dans les médias et les dernières années des éruptions volcaniques avec des grandes colonnes de cendres, des coulées, etc., qui, lorsqu'elles rentrent dans l'océan, provoquent justement des tsunamis importants. Et c'est un des enjeux parce qu'autour de nombreux volcans, il y a de nombreuses populations qui vivent. Et il s'agit, comme au Krakatoa en 2018 ou en 1883, qui était une catastrophe très importante, d'arriver à surveiller. Donc l'enjeu est de pouvoir surveiller ces phénomènes qui sont plus compliqués que les séismes et d'installer justement des réseaux de surveillance, qu'ils soient sismiques, qu'ils soient géophysiques, qu'ils soient de mesure du niveau de la mer, évidemment, très proches de la source, très proches du volcan, si possible dessus ou à proximité, et ensuite de connecter ces réseaux aux systèmes d'alerte existants en impliquant d'autres scientifiques, les volcanologues par exemple, qui peuvent nous aider à construire ces systèmes d'alerte. Donc au niveau mondial, il faut quand même noter qu'il y a presque 90 volcans qui ont été identifiés, le monde, dans tous les bassins. Et il s'agit donc de mener des études d'aléas et ensuite d'équiper ces volcans de systèmes spécifiques pour regarder la déformation, pour regarder si des tsunamis se créent. Et des publications ont été d'ailleurs faites par la COI après ces résultats donc, de ces groupes de travail et du groupe du Pacifique qui a mis en place un système spécifique pour surveiller le volcan de Unga Tonga, qui a été donc également, dont on a parlé ce soir, qui donc a induit un tsunami avec des impacts très loin, à plusieurs milliers de kilomètres du volcan, ce qui est assez exceptionnel. L'événement précédent était au Krakatoa en 1883. Un dernier point que je souhaite souligner, c'est dû au dérèglement climatique. En fait, au Groenland, depuis l'an 2000, 3 tsunamis ont été provoqués par des glissements de terrain liés à la disparition ou à la fonte des glaciers et de la neige. Et ces tsunamis ont malheureusement aussi provoqué de forts dégâts et des victimes et des déplacements de population. Donc ces phénomènes peuvent aussi se produire dans des fjords d'autres pays. Et il faut noter que la Norvège est un des pays qui a mis en place déjà certains systèmes d'alerte. Et en conclusion, le programme, à mon sens, auquel doivent adhérer l'ensemble des pays et des gouvernements est de concevoir des systèmes d'alerte au tsunami complets, précis et robustes afin de limiter le nombre de vies humaines liées à ce phénomène.
Merci beaucoup François Chindele pour ce panorama scientifique de ce qu'il faut faire et de ce qui a été fait et des leçons qui en ont été tenues. On va peut-être passer effectivement... Ah non, on va peut-être passer entre-temps, before coming to you, Peter Coltolman, we're going to turn to Professor Dvikorita Karnawati, who is unable, I told you, to join us in person due to travel issues, but she nevertheless managed to send us a video answering some of our questions for this panel, and she did it at the airport, so I really want to thank her. I just remind you, Professor Karnawati is the director of the Indonesian Agency for Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics, an expert in the academic and operational aspects of tsunami warning system, and previously she was the chair of the Intergovernmental Coordination Group for the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System for the period between 2019 and 2024. We listened to her video turned in special conditions also.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and experts. Thanks to IOC UNESCO for the invitation, but I should apologize for not being able to come offline due to the technical problems in my airlines. Ladies and gentlemen, the implementation of tsunami early warning system in the region has been playing a significant contribution to accelerate the achievement of early warning for all, especially related to pillar number 2, which include the observation, monitoring, detection, forecasting, and warning, as well as pillar number 3, which focus in dissemination. However, to ensure the successful achievement of safe ocean, as mandated by the UN Decade on Ocean Science, the early warning for all must be able to drive the successful achievement of early action by all, which is relevant to pillar number 1 and 4. Thus, all those targets, early warning for all and early action by all, require strong and smart collaboration among all the pillars. In terms of observation, pillar number 2, to achieve the effective and successful implementation of the tsunami warning system, strong and smart collaboration among stakeholders, institutions, and countries is urgently required to strengthen the systematic observation, particularly for the deep ocean bottom, which enable the system to provide more timely, reliable, and accurate warning for tsunami, were mostly induced by the oceanic sources, including tectonic and or volcanic sources. The problem due to lack of data, especially oceanic data, needs to be solved urgently, such as through data exchange, which also include the deep ocean bottom data. In terms of communication and dissemination, pillar number 3, we do need robust communication to ensure the timely, rapid warning dissemination, despite of the problem due to the high cost of communication still remain. Well, finally, I would like to highlight the importance of integration of socio-technical system, that hybrid socio-technical systems is really required in order to ensure the successful early warning for all as well as early action by all. Regarding the question number 2 here, I would like to highlight that we need to conduct more efforts to improve our capacity for the non-seismic tsunami, such as occur in Palu, in Sunda Strait and Honga Tonga. Now we keep improving our effort to provide technology for the non-seismic tsunami. Apart from that, we must also provide and implement the local or traditional knowledge and wisdom as together with the science and technology for the early warning system. So both, again, hybrid socio-technical system, combining the local wisdom and the innovation of technology, need to ensure the successful early warning for all and early action by all. Finally, regarding the IOC UNESCO second Global Tsunami Symposium in Banda Aceh, I would like to highlight the importance of science diplomacy as well as science policy, that us must work together with the decision maker, with the political leaders, to advocate the importance of science for enhancement of the tsunami early warning system, or tsunami early warning for all, together with the early action by all. Without strong communication and advocacy by us, the scientists, the experts, to translate the science language into political consideration, I do worry the spirit to achieve early warning for all may not be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Professor Victoria Karnawati. And Peter Coltman, I'm just turning to you. And as you were the head of the Tsunami Coordination Unit of UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission between 2006 and 2010, and that you're a leading oceanographer and proeminent expert of the World Ocean Circulation Experiment. But I want to continue on what Professor just said, Dr. Coltman. Can you talk to us about the role of science diplomacy? And what is the difference between science diplomacy and science policy in facilitating international cooperation during tsunamis disasters?
The facts come from science. That is, in this case, an earthquake has happened, to determine where, how, and what happened, and then to assess the consequences. And the policy has to define what to make of that information, particularly as the communities change from a science community to the people on the beach. And one of the big problems is always to adopt the language from the science hemisphere or community to the locals, both in terms of language and in level, and of course in understanding. And the ambassador of Sri Lanka highlighted, nobody knew the word tsunami. So one of the big problems of the Indian Ocean tsunami was that over the Christmas time, New Year, it was tourist season. And even if people would have known tsunami, nobody of the locals would have known what to do. And nobody of the authorities was prepared to know what to do. So you both have a language problem and you have a preparedness problem. And in that sense, when we started, just to recapitulate, on the 26th of December, the Indian Ocean tsunami happened. On the 9th of January, there was the first tsunami conference here in Paris. And in retrospect, I don't know if fate plays a role, but the then Director General, Matsura, was from Japan. And the Executive Secretary from IOC was from Chile. And both countries have been hit in the past by very strong earthquakes and the consequences. So those two gentlemen immediately knew what needs to be done. And that is get the communities orchestrated, sorted out, set priorities, particularly because in the response of this first real-time global disaster, I mean, the disaster happened in the Indian Ocean. The tourists came from Sweden and from Western Europe or elsewhere. And in that sense, this real-time disaster created an overwhelming interest and support, which had to be prioritized. And I think what the idea, and coming back to your initial question, science versus diplomacy, from the very beginning, we had to find partners who were better than UNESCO and IOC on this job. Secondly, in this job, what elements are needed, which is detection, confirmation, message wave, warning formulation, and then how does the warning end up on the beach, and the preparedness and awareness of the disaster, and then the preparedness to respond, to understand the warning, was very important. And immediately, with this huge support from countries and organizations outside the Indian Ocean area, was the idea we had that at the end of our activities, 4 or 5 years maybe, the system should be in a sustained fashion, technically, operationally, to be taken on board by member states. UNESCO or IOC doesn't operate a warning center. That is sustained and will last throughout the decades to come. So in spite of the much money that there was, we were focusing on how little could have spent or could be needed 5 years from then. So that's where science, there was a huge demand of science. Yes, we know better and we can do better and whatever, but UNESCO is not a funding agency. So we have to talk to the funding agency. This is a topic that needs to be addressed, and to the Red Cross or others who are good at rescue.
Put your microphone, your mic.
Sorry, and to talk to the other agencies that in this first initial moment of rescue, relief, and recovery know what to do and are trained. So our role was to coordinate, to listen to a lot of people, to structure the response of the region, of the countries, and to master somehow or to ease the support into the region, into the system. And just to finally the Pacific system was a central system run from Hawaii after the 49 and 56 earthquakes and tsunamis. It was central with the technology of that time, was modernized. But now suddenly in the Indian Ocean, you had countries much more populated than the South Pacific, who wanted and had to do to maintain it. So you had a then decentralized system which needs a common language, common structure, and common understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At the UNESCO IOC Second Global Tsunami Symposium held last week in Banda Aceh in Indonesia, the outcome statement urged states and civil society to achieve 100% tsunami-ready coastal communities by 2030. From your perspective, and I ask these questions to all of you, what are the key steps needed to achieve these ambitions? For Schindele or Irene? François Schindele.
Yeah, this question about the 2013 goal is very important because it pushes, in reality, member states, governments to contribute to this implementation. But thinking about science at what was presented today, there are also some education in general, education of risk that is very important, but for everybody, because everybody today has journey around the world, and now as we have more oceanic basin are with a tsunami warning system, the education of the young people and of the teachers to explain what is a tsunami. We have mentioned that a tsunami traveled as a plane speed, many people don't know, and a tsunami can cross the Pacific Ocean in 24 hours, less than 1 day. So, and why at the opposite side of the Pacific, a tsunami can be amplified. And so science provides this explanation, and thanks to modeling and other computation physics, we can explain. And coming to also the remarks of my colleagues, Rick again and Laura, they are the language to understand when you feel an earthquake, and the example of Palu is very important. No, if you are somewhere in the world close to the sea and you shake a strong earthquake in any place, or a long earthquake, escape immediately with the people that are close to you. And the second message also, if you see the sea recession in a few minutes, very fast, again, in that case, don't wait the warning. Go run inland at higher ground immediately. And this should be in any training and in any training of young people, and teaching the teachers why this is very important. And people, when they are safe, they said, okay, I knew that the tsunami could come, etc. We hear also in many different. So for me, this education is one, global education is one of the key to tsunami ready, but the global tsunami ready.
Merci beaucoup, François Schindele. L'éducation, l'importance de l'éducation. Irina Rafiana. Yes, what's your point of view? I know you also wanted to speak about science diplomacy and science policy, so you can speak about all that together.
Thank you very much. I agree with the important points that has been put on and for us to ponder. I would like to actually invite you to now feel and experience the perspective of the communities and dwellers as opposed of us as scientists, as diplomats. And being in the shoes of coastal dwellers, there's another different forms of resilience that I observe that needs to be taken into account. I think in every event construct new way of thinking, new way of adapting. The 2004 teaches us that if there's a strong ground shake, difficult to stand up and you see water recede, you have to run to higher ground, you have 30 minutes lead time. That is for Aceh. That is diligently followed by communities in Mentawai. But in Mentawai 2010, we learned that the earthquake is just slow swaying. It occurred in the evening. There's no electricity. And the water came in less than 10 minutes. And then the community adapted again to that. And that became a new education point and learning. And then we come to Palu, which already have their risk assessment in 2012, and they have the drills in this coastal area, training themselves to the lead time of 15 minutes, also to respond to the strong ground shake and the water receding phenomena. And as we learned from Melinda, this did not happen. There's no water receding. The earthquake was strong, but then everybody was so sure that the Palu Bay was not in danger. So all of these events are going to continuously construct new ways of thinking and adapting. And in doing so, that in itself creates a particular resilience that is beyond our own terminology of resilience that we at the moment are thinking. So we're thinking about resilience in the sense, I guess it's important. And I think that is our homework towards 2030. And I agree very much with you, Professor Schindler, that it's a push. It's a very important push for us, for different governments and communities to really work on this. On the other hand, we're also challenged by this continuously movement of phenomena, which followed by also political decisions, followed by different political interests as well. I feel for Professor Dwi Korita Karnawati, when the Palu Tsunami 2018 occurred, the funding for the warning system at that time, for example, is starting to decrease. So the moment there's another new tsunami event, it became a new way of pleading again, please, invest again to the warning system. There was already a huge changes at that time with the institutional infrastructure and also structure in Indonesia. And it's so difficult to maintain what we imagine or what we have built since 2005, for example, then in 2018. And for her to plead the importance of continuously investment, sometimes manifested into the importance only to invest in the materiality of the warning system, the tsunami buoys, the early detection instrumentation. But I think the plea goes beyond that. And I think that is what we need to also take into account in our science diplomacy, in our negotiation with different entities. And I guess tsunamis is transboundary, right?
Exactly.
And I think we're facing much higher mobility of human by 2030, which means the interest of the global public towards this ocean safety is that much of a stake. And I think that's no longer between the North and South. It's no longer between the affected and the giver and the donor. It's no longer that. And I think this is also another rethinking of this science diplomacy, disaster risk diplomacy, that we can put on the table very, very soon.
Thank you very much for saying that. Do you, Peter Kolterman, you want just small word, because of course we're already late, but it's so interesting that, but maybe last word of this panel.
I would like to underline that natural hazards are come in various forms. Tsunami is one, but then on the mechanism from generating the warning to the recipient on the beach or in the country or on the shore, there are a lot of elements that are similar or almost identical. So we have to think about this as a multi-hazard warning system. We were very happy in the Indian Ocean's case that with the framework conventions in place, there was an anticipation of what to do and how to do it, and 20 years later we see it worked. But obviously it depended very much on this enormous knee-jerk disaster, real-time television. And now we face a lot of challenges, I would mention brackets climate change, which are slow and creeping with enormous local, regional consequences. And the ambassador of India, I guess, referred to the floods and hurricanes and droughts and forest fires. But to get the message, information into the community, to prepare the communities, both by building laws, by landscape planning, by population industrialization, the problem of population pressure to the beach. If we look at 100 kilometers along the ocean rim, there are a lot of these mega cities, and they are all at danger, at risk, and we have to think in this, what we learned through the last 20 years can be used to save people and to minimize costs. Recovery is much more costly than preparation, awareness, and preparedness. In that sense, I think we have made progress, but we have to get going and keep going. Thank you.
Thank you very much to you all for this inspiring. I think we have to pass to the next segment. It's okay, and really we can applaud our panel because really it was inspiring. Thank you very much, and I hope we learn from it, and that evening like this one can educate all of us all over the world. A hope for our common future of all the humanity, because it's really science and humanity. Hope that we'd like to hold dearly within our hearts and minds tonight, and I think there is no better way than through music. Music can heal hearts and minds and bodies. I will ask, thank you for the panelists, and everybody can enjoy now a very peaceful and joyful musical moment, a special live concert. The final artistic part of this evening's program will soon begin, a concert that symbolizes hope, we need it, renewal, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It's my very great honor to introduce UNESCO Artist for Peace, Mr. Eijin Nimura. Mr. Eijin Nimura, an acclaimed violinist. You can come on stage. Very, very happy to welcome you, Mr. Nimura, acclaimed violinist whose music has inspired audiences all around the world. Tonight, your performance is a tribute to the life lost in the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami and a call for unity and hope and humanity. And we continue to build a safer future. Through this artistry, through your violin, Eijin Nimura, you remind us of the power of music to bring people together and to inspire action for change. We can welcome again Eijin to the stage. No, we welcome you. We welcome you. And I will let you explain, because I know you stay on stage? Yeah. And now, I know it's important for you to heal through music and to explain your pieces. So you will do it. Do you need a microphone maybe, or do you want to go? You have it here. Okay. So I will listen to your music. Thank you very much.
First, I play to dedicate the music of Johann Sebastian Bach to the 220,000 people who lost their lives in the Indian Ocean tsunami. Good evening, Excellencies and everyone. I am Aiji Nimura, violinist and a UNESCO Artist for Peace, as the first Japanese since 1998. After the Indian Ocean tsunami, I remember the time when I was involved in providing support to the victims by holding benefit concerts in Tokyo, sending donations, and sending supplies. We must always be aware of the enormous natural threats that can occur at any time, and even if we suffer a disaster, we must be tireless and rise again. The next piece I would like to play is named Obsession. It was written by the great Belgian violinist Eugene Izay. Izay said that in writing this music, I tried to get out of there, bleeding and sweating, feeling like I was about to be crushed by the giants. I likened these giants to the forces of nature and the threats of tsunami. We love nature and we love the ocean, but sometimes we humans are helpless and overwhelmed by its immense power. Even so, we have to stand up at all costs. I would like to perform this piece as an image of such human strength. I believe that love is the most important thing for us. For me, love is devotion, and I believe that true love is that asks nothing in return from anybody. I always perform as a UNESCO Artist for Peace in the wish that my dedication to the most vulnerable people will be a source of hope for those who have to endure difficult situations, such as the victims of the tsunami. I choose this music to symbolize hope. It is Dream of Love, number 3, by Franz Liszt. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the last rose of summer, written by the Irish poet Thomas Moore. At the end of the summer, after the other roses have scattered, the poet pities the loneliness of the single blooming rose, and at the same time, the elderly author superimposes himself on the rose. This poem ends with, "When true hearts lie withered, and fond ones are flown, oh, who would inhabit this bleak world alone?" From this poem, I naturally feel how important friends and family are, but on the other hand, how we can support those who have lost their friends and family, and that is true unity. Recovery, which takes a long time from the terrible natural disaster of the tsunami, cannot be achieved without the true unity that people support each other. I would like to play this melody today in the hope that more people can raise awareness and unite in order to build a resilient world. The Last Rose of Summer by Ernst. I will play this music in the hope that Excellencies and everyone's wishes will come true.
Jean Nimura, you heal us with your violin. Thank you for that moving and powerful performance. Your music, your violin, your words also has brought this evening to a deeply emotional and hopeful conclusion. You spoke about hope, reminding us that resilience and unity, one of the play was unity, and harmony, I want to add also, are at the heart of our shared humanity. Thank you so much, Jean Nimura, for this moment. Thank you very much. We are now near the conclusion of this evening's commemoration. We reflect the stories, contribution, inspirations shared here today to help us close this special emotional event for our humanity. It's my honor to invite Vida Helgesen, secrétaire exécutive de la Commission océanographique intergouvernementale de l'UNESCO, to deliver the closing remarks. Please, Vida Helgesen, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this evening we've heard a convergence of voices, governmental, scientific, artistic, and first and foremost, human, in remembrance, resilience, and a shared commitment to a future resilient to disasters. The tragedy of the 26th of December 2004 will forever remain a stark reminder of the power of nature, and that the power of nature can be devastating. But it is also a reminder that the power of human nature is indomitable when we come together. And after the tsunami, Indian Ocean tsunami, humanity came together. The tsunami left behind profound grief, but also a powerful call to action. It taught us the value of resilience, not just as individuals, but as a global community, capable of learning, adapting, and preparing for the challenges ahead. Today, we have honored both the memory of those we lost and the strength of those who survived tsunamis in 2004 and since. Survivors like Ms. Milanda Adu from Indonesia and Mr. Pradeep Kodipilli from Sri Lanka that shared deeply personal testimonies of loss, courage, and recovery. I'm also profoundly thankful for the presence and performance of Eijin Nimura, a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador, whose artistry tonight transcended words, offering solace and indeed inspiring hope. We also heard from our experts how our collective action has translated over the past 20 years into significant strides in tsunami early warning and preparedness. Today's millions of people are safer because of enhanced detection systems, international cooperation, and empowered citizens. The recent Banda Aceh statement adopted during the second Global Tsunami Symposium earlier this month calls for a renewed commitment to achieve 100% tsunami-ready communities by 2030 and to support the UN Secretary General's Early Warning for All initiative, which aims to ensure that every person on Earth is protected by early warning systems for disasters by 2027. This is ambitious. It means we have much work to do. But we are in better shape today than we have ever been. The continuous progress in early warning and preparedness to tsunamis is a testament to the resolve of our member states and the over 100 tsunami-ready communities across the globe. So let us carry forward this resolve and renew our commitment to advancing tsunami preparedness and empowering vulnerable coastal communities with the knowledge, the tools, and the systems needed to safeguard lives. In this way, we can honor the lives lost not only by words, but with continuous actions to strengthen partnerships, invest in science and technology, and fostering resilience in every corner of the world. Thanks to everyone who has contributed to this event, survivors, excellencies, artists, experts, interpreters, our moderator and the technical team, and to you, our audience, for your shared commitment to building a safer ocean now and for future generations. Thank you, and good evening, and a safe journey home.
Thank you very much, Vidar, for your thoughtful words and for highlighting UNESCO's and its Intergovernmental Oceanography Commission's continued commitment to disaster risk reduction and preparedness. Je vais peut-être passer au français parce que je suis émue par cette soirée qui a été, j'ai entendu des mots très forts comme les forces de la résilience, j'ai entendu parler d'éducation au tsunami, d'espoir, d'humanité commune, de vulnérabilité commune, de la puissance de la nature et de la meilleure manière de s'y préparer ensemble. Je vais repasser à l'anglais. This evening had been a powerful reminder of the importance of resilience, collaboration and preparedness. But our commemoration doesn't end here. For those wishing to explore further, I really encourage you to visit the Tsunami Sea Change for Resilience exhibition displayed on the UNESCO fences just outside. C'est une très belle exposition photographique created by Matt Porteus and Tamsin Rain together with UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanography Commission and Nautilus magazine, and it will remain on display here until the end of December. This exhibition made possible by the courage and willingness of tsunami survivors to share their stories, capture their resilience through powerful images and narratives, and continue to inspire and educate us all. And the education is so important, and we say it here au siège de l'UNESCO à Paris. Before we conclude, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this event possible. The survivors first, of course. Ambassadors, thank you very much. Panelists, performers, organizers, interpreters, technicians, and of course you, our audience. Thank you for being part of this very important commemoration. Let us carry forward all the lessons we've got here: resilience, preparedness, unity, harmony, hope, as we strive for a safer and more united future in these changing times and climate. Good evening, and please come back anytime during the day to view the exhibition outside. Un seul mot à tous et toutes. Merci.